Now that all the big gaming events have finished, we gotta talk about what happened with Jet Set Radio 3. I don't know how this happened again, and I don't know why this keeps happening, but Jet Set Radio 3 got leaked once again. What happened this time? A lot, actually. Even bigger than the previous leak from 2024, which is actually connected to this new leak because it's part of the same 2024 prototype build. And with the help of Undad, once again, shouts out to them, we've come together to analyze this brand new Jet Set Radio 3 footage and talk about all the important stuff. And trust me, all the pieces are gonna start connecting together. So we start off with a flash of the original Graffiti Soul logo, and then we get a new shot of DJ Professor K's new DJ setup, as well as him saying his iconic Jet Set Radio. But you'll notice something odd.
Jet Set Radio!
Yeah, that is not Billy Brown voicing DJ Professor K. Now, this could all change. This could be just a placeholder voice actor doing the voice, and we could get Billy Brown when we officially see the game again. But if this is going to be our new DJ Professor K voice, it's not terrible. It certainly has the energy. It just will take some getting used to. Then we get to see a shot of Gum dancing in the middle of Shibuya, and can I just say, she is jamming. And this is the first time we get to finally see her new design full body in high resolution. I know this design is very divisive amongst the community, but now seeing it in high resolution, I really like it. Is it my favorite Gum design? No, but I would still say it's pretty good. And then we get a shot of Beat standing on top of a building looking over Shibuya. And the most interesting thing about this shot is they're playing videos of OG Jet Set Radio inside of the buildings. We get a few different shots of Beat, Gum, DJ Professor K, and Combo. And this is also the first time we get a full body shot of Combo that's in high definition. Number one, I really like his new design. I think it's sick. Number two, seeing a man of his size doing parkour is pretty hilarious. And number three, I think they're really sticking with not giving him something to hold for this game. If there's one thing about Combo that was recognizable from his previous designs is that he was holding something in his arms, whether it was the boombox or the DJ sound system. But here, it's just nothing. And I think the main reason he's not holding anything this time is because of the bigger focus on parkour and they need him to climb stuff. So him carrying something in his arm would make that pretty hard. That's just my theory on why he's not holding anything for this game. And then we get a shot of Beat spraying some graffiti on the wall. I'm not sure if this is a cutscene or if this is just how it's going to look when you're actually spraying the graffiti in game. It's doing the different camera angles like it did in the original Jet Set Radio when you're spraying graffiti. So maybe it is, but considering the previous footage we saw of them spraying graffiti, maybe not, who knows. We also get our first look at the Rokaku Police. The design is pretty similar to their original designs, but here it looks like they're wearing a white dress shirt along with a tactical vest. Hilariously enough, they're the most faithful redesigns. In the next important shot, we get to see Beat doing some parkour, and this looks scripted. It doesn't look like it requires any player input. Just looks like a quick little cutscene to transition you to getting on top of buildings and such. But it does make me question, how will they make it smoothly transitions from them getting off of their skates when they're performing parkour? Because we are about to see more footage of the GGs doing parkour stuff while they're on foot. The animation honestly looks really nice here, and just seeing Beat doing all of this parkour stuff is pretty cool. Bro had to aura farm by doing this flip here. It was so unnecessary, but he had to flex. And then we get a shot of the GGs doing some parkour tricks. And one thing I really want to stress is how expressive these guys are. Gum doing this cheeky wink and then Combo looking absolutely bewildered. This is what I imagined Jet Set Radio would look like with a higher budget. So seeing them be this expressive really makes me happy, and we're gonna see a lot more facial animations from these characters later on. We get our first big look at the noise tanks and their new design. It kind of looks like a mixture of their OG and future design with a couple of changes, like the monitors on their faces and the satellites on their backs. An interesting thing about this is that there are many, and I mean many, noise tanks here, similar to how in Jet Set Radio Future where they were mass reproduced. So maybe they're going back to the cyborg route with the noise tanks, which I'm down for that. We get a shot of Beat looking very pissed off, and then it looks like he gets blown away by some massive explosion off of a building. The biggest thing to note is how they're handling Beat's glasses. So it looks like they made them transparent, so I guess whenever he's going to have like an extreme emotion, he's going to show his eyes, and it looks pretty weird. They haven't done something like this before with Beat, and honestly, seeing his eyes is a little freaky. It's not bad, it's just very strange. I'll get used to it. It's just, yeah, it's weird being able to see Beat have normal looking eyes. Another interesting thing is Beat actually has a face tattoo. I don't think we got to clearly see that in his new design before, but yeah, he has a face tattoo here. This is the first time he's actually gotten a face tattoo, and Gum has her face tattoo back. You would only see this face tattoo in promotional art for the original Jet Set Radio, but you would never see it on the model. Here, it's actually on her model, and she has the face tattoo. They've always been very inconsistent with Gum's tattoos, so here we are once again with Gum having the face tattoo when she didn't have it before. And then we get a brief cutscene of Gum just talking. And this is huge. We are finally going to have the GGs talking fully and interacting with their world. We've only ever had DJ Professor K, as well as characters like Onishima, Hayashi, and Goji have full-on dialogue talking. And even in the first Jet Set Radio, Combo was the only one who was allowed to have full dialogue. And now it seems like everyone is going to finally have that. This was one of my wishes for Jet Set Radio 3 when it was first revealed, and it's finally happening. I'm so glad that they're gonna have a bigger focus on the story because these characters are really cool. Jet Set Radio Future showed how expressive these characters can be. Even if it wasn't a lot, it was just enough to make them all feel special. So I'm glad to see that they're leaning towards that. And then here comes the craziest reveal, a brand new character. This is Sierra, and first impressions already, she's gorgeous, very gorgeous. The multicolored hair, the choker around her neck, the tattoos on her right arm. She's wearing a black crop top with yellow overalls. Yeah, they absolutely cooked with this character. And of course, the thing to note about Sierra is that she is handicapped from the waist down. So this is something that's been known for quite a while since Jet Set Radio 3 was first revealed. When the leaker Midori was still around, they did mention that there was going to be a character in a wheelchair. We didn't quite understand who this character was going to be, and now we know it's Sierra. and it looks like she's introducing herself to the GGs, and this is their first meeting. I have a theory on what Sierra's role is going to be during this game. If you remember from my previous video talking about the leak from 2024, there was this follower system, and it seemed like one of the main goals for this game was to gain followers. What I think Sierra is going to do is give the GGs some missions in order for them to build their reputation and gain followers. So she's kind of like their own personal navigator. Like how DJ Professor K was the navigator as well as the announcer in Jet Set Radio Future. That's gonna be pretty interesting if I'm right about what she's going to do. I do also hope she's playable though. I mean, like, come on, who wouldn't want to do crazy tricks in a wheelchair? Like, that would be super sick. We get the noise tanks pointing a gun at us. Nothing super significant here, but it's a cool shot. And then it actually transitioned to the previous leaked footage that we saw back in 2024, but now everything is in high definition. So here, after Beat finishes this wall jump, he pulls out a paint gun. Now, we did see images of this menu before, but in the 2024 footage, the footage had cut before it actually showed Beat pulling out the paint gun. So this is actually our first time seeing it in action. This implies that they're going to do a big overhaul on the combat sections for Jet Set Radio 3, which I am completely okay with because the combat in Jet Set Radio Future was not very good. It also can allow for more dynamic boss fights, so we'll see where they'll take this. So, one thing I actually want to bring up that I got wrong in 2024 when the first leak happened was that I thought mid-air tricks would give you an extra jump height, but in reality, it's actually a double jump. This game has a double jump now. I am down for a double jump if it's going to make the platforming more precise and actually give us some more intricate platforming challenges. Jet Set Radio was very much lacking in those departments, so having a double jump I hope will improve it and they can make some really great level design to build around that. And then we also get to see Beat climbing, you know, just to add on to the parkour stuff. This last bit of footage is pretty huge because we actually get to see our first interaction with the Rokkaku police in gameplay. If you look at the top center, it looks like there's going to be a wanted level for this game. A wanted system pretty similar to how Bomb Rush Cyberpunk has its wanted system. I think I would be down for that in this game. We have the grounding cops chasing after you, and then we also have the helicopter shooting at you with bullets and missiles, and Beat does a dodge roll. There is a dodge roll in this game as well. I'm very happy to see that they're expanding the characters' movesets. We get this final shot of Beat skating up this tower, and then DJ Professor K leaves us off with a laugh, and that's it. Wow. That was certainly a lot to take in, and it was a massive surprise when this just randomly dropped. So, how do I feel about what I saw? I'm genuinely excited. This is practically everything I wanted Jet Set Radio 3 to be. Now, when this footage did pop up, it did cause some discourse, some friction, the Jet Set Radio community on whether or not this is the correct direction for Jet Set Radio 3 to go in. Some are a fan of it, some are not a fan of it. It is going in a very drastic direction. And you know, for some, they don't feel like they need Jet Set Radio 3 when we've gotten Bomber Cyberfunk, and now we're also going to get Hyperfunk pretty soon. And you know, as 2027 and potentially 2028 is going to go, we're going to be in a very interesting position. We are potentially going to have Hyperfunk and Jet Set Radio 3 come out around the same time, or maybe Hyperfunk is going to come out first and then we'll get Jet Set Radio 3 in 2028. Maybe Hyperfunk 2027, who knows? But we are once again in a position where we have another game that's inspired by Jet Set Radio and is more like the Jet Set Radios that we've had previously than Jet Set Radio 3, which is going in a completely different direction. I mean, we're gonna have a lot of comparisons between the two games whenever they release, but for me, it's going to be two cakes, and I'm just happy to have both. Now, one thing to note, and this is pretty important, is that Ryuta Ueda, who is like the main art director for Jet Set Radio, is not part of the project anymore, which raised red flags and worries for a lot of people concerning Jet Set Radio 3. Now, we probably won't know why he's not part of Jet Set Radio 3 anymore, but it does make me curious who is now handling the art for Jet Set Radio 3. Am I worried? No, but I am just curious. And this was a little after we got shown Crazy Taxi World Tour, and then we got that AI disclaimer which caused a lot of discourse, which then bled into Jet Set Radio 3, and now people are worried that AI is also going to be used for Jet Set Radio 3, which would be pretty gross, especially considering the game's main message. But we won't know for sure until we see this game again. Now, when will we see Jet Set Radio 3 again?
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is looking like a 2028 type beat, but I really want them to take their time to properly cook with this game. I don't want them rushing it. I want this game to be as good as possible. Do I wish that we got more proper info on this game instead of it getting leaked? Of course. But I know right now Sega is going to have a pretty stacked 2027 with games like Stranger Than Heaven and Persona 4 Revival and Persona 6 and Virtual Fighter Crossroads and Crazy Taxi World Tour. So they have a lot on their plate. So I'm sure when all those games are settled and released, we'll finally get to see more of Jet Set Radio 3 by, who knows, maybe next Summer Games Fest. But that's going to be it for me today. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and comment what you thought about it. And if you're interested in seeing more of my content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can get a notification on my next upload. Also, be sure to give me some hype points so more people can see my videos pop up on their feed. Just try and hang in there, guys. I know the wait for Jet Set Radio 3 is painful, but we just gotta pull through, keep it together, and eventually we'll have the game in our hands.